right, everyone, so I hope you enjoyed your early 5-minute break. Now that we're back, we're going to talk about areas of concern for building properly structured nail enhancements. So know that nail enhancements, they are aesthetic, they look good, we like them because they look good, they might feel good, they may make us feel better about ourselves. But you also want to make sure that they remain strong and healthy while the client is wearing them, because that is a safety issue, that is a hygiene issue if they're not maintained right. So you want to pay attention to the following areas: the apex, stress area, nail extension underside, those three areas. And there's going to be some sub areas we're going to talk about in there. So you want to pay attention to those for different reasons, and I'm going to hop in starting with the arch. The apex, which is also called the arch, I call it the arch. State board may call it either or. Also know on your test it might be referred to as each. The apex or arch is going to be the area of the nail that has all of its strength. So if you think about like an arch, almost like a bridge, that arch is going to be up there, it's going to be strong. You want to make sure that when you have strength in the apex, it's going to allow the base of the nail, sidewalls and tip to be thin, but yet it leaves the nail strong enough to resist frequent chipping or breaking. Typically your apex is going to be oval shaped and it is located at the center of the nail. This is also going to be found by being seen as the highest point that is visible no matter where you view the nail. My nails are kind of short and not really a good way to see this, but typically if I'm looking at my nail, it's going to be exactly halfway through my nail. I'm going to see it like there. I'm going to look and I'm going to see it raise up right there. I'm going to look at it from this way, it'll be there. And if I look at it from the front, it's going to raise slightly. So typically you're going to look at a person's nails. Some people, due to anatomy differences, if they have thicker nails, they might have a more pronounced apex. My nails are not particularly thick, nor are they super thin. They're kind of like right in the middle. I don't have a pronounced apex in any of my fingers. So nail shape will vary person to person. I always say pause this, have a fun activity with your cosmetology buddies and see if you can look at each other's nails and identify where the apex is. Doing things like that in your class will help you prepare yourself for the real world if you want to go into nail services, or will help to potentially reduce some anxiety if you're going to work with clients. So that is going to be your apex or arch. Your stress area is going to be where the natural nail grows beyond the finger and it becomes the free edge. This is going to be the area that needs strength to support the extension. So your sidewall, not sidewall, oh my gosh, I read ahead. The stress area is going to be, my nails are short, so again, I really can't show you guys mine because I don't really have a stress area. Not every person has a stress area. A lot of us men, when we cut and file our nails, depending on where epinecium is, they might file beyond, so they don't have a free edge, and their nail is sometimes on their actual skin. But once your nail grows long enough and it starts to overhang, that is going to be your stress area. The nail is stress area is an interesting name for that. I always wondered if it was called stress area because if your nail grows too much, it can actually crack or break. Your sidewall is another important area to know about. Your sidewall is going to be the side of the nail plate that grows free of its attachment to the nail fold and where the extension leaves the natural nail. So sidewalls are going to be right over here. Sometimes if you pull your skin down, you can actually see the sidewall right there. Your nail extension underside is going to be the actual underside of the nail extension. The nail extension underside can jut straight out or it may dip depending on the nail style. This is totally based on preference and what you're doing when you're working with your nail enhancement. You want the underside to match in length, form, from every single nail on all the fingers. You don't want one extension underside to look different and the other one to be concave and then curved under, or look like some ridiculous shape that doesn't exist in nature, because that doesn't look right. You want it all to be uniform to look natural. You want to make sure that the tip will fit the nail and finger properly, and the underside of the nail should be smooth without any kind of glitches or something that doesn't look right. You also want to know that the thickness of a nail enhancement should be thin if the client is going to wear it comfortably. A client's job is important. Sometimes a client may want a thick one for whatever reason. Again, you can give them what they want, but you can't give them good taste. You want to make sure that the enhancement graduates seamlessly from the cuticle to the end of the nail extension so you don't feel an edge. You want the sidewalls and tips to be credit card thin. That's kind of a good what do I call it? Visual to imagine. Credit card thin is being an ideal. If your nail is so thick where it looks like this, which obviously is not possible, or it's so thin it'll break off. Too thin will break off, too thick is gonna be very uncomfortable and it can get in the way of daily life. You also wanna know that the C-curve of the nail enhancement depends on the C-curve of the natural nail. Typically in the salon setting, a 30% C-curve is average. The top surface and bottom side should match perfectly. You want to also make sure that the lengths of the nail extensions and enhancements are appropriate and even. You want to be sure to measure the length of the index, middle, and ring fingers so that they are the same length. The thumb and pinky fingers should be in proportion and match. If you have a disproportion, it will be obvious and your client will be upset. So this comes with experience, this shouldn't be something you're gonna master in a day. Just try to be aware of how it looks. If it looks even to you, leave it. Always get the client's opinion. Hey, how does this look good? If they think it looks fine, it looks good. If your client is calling you out on something, make sure that you're trying to fix that to keep her happy. Also know that we're gonna now talk about monomer liquid and polymer powder nail enhancement remover. There might be times where your client feels that she wants to have her monomer liquid and polymer powder enhancements removed. Don't worry, it's very simple. All you have to do is soak the enhancements off the nail using acetone or the manufacturer's removal solution. Again, this is my own professional opinion to you. If you guys are just consumers watching because you want to learn more about cosmetology, that is totally great, and I applaud you for doing that because I think education and research are so important to do. Again, due to COVID, things are shutting down. It can be scary for some people. So if you are potentially high risk and you don't want to go out, that is totally fine. I get that as a professional. And you want to remove your nail enhancements and you're stressed, how you can remove them or how you can educate your clients to remove them is to simply get some acetone, soak their nails in it. They have to soak it in for a while and it should come off evenly. And if there's any residues left over, repeat the process. I know acetone can be drying, so make sure you recommend a good moisturizer or a good product to kind of soothe the skin after. You don't need to use a specific monomer remover. Acetone does the job just fine. They also include the procedure at the back of the book. Now we're going to talk about some odorless monomer liquid and polymer powder products. Know that odorless monomer liquid and polymer powder products are nail enhancements that have little odor. Here's the key. It can say little odor, odorless. That's a lie. That's a big old-fashioned lie. They actually do have an odor. I smell it well, as do other people. It's kind of like going back to my point on the no ammonia having no odor, which was not exactly entirely true. Some of the products still have an earthy or a slightly earthy odor. So know that these products that are labeled as odorless, they do not have the same chemistry as other monomer liquid and polymer powder products. They instead use ethyl acrylic. These products rely on monomers that have little odor. Even though these products are called odorless, they do have a slight odor still. And generally, if the monomer liquid does not produce a strong enough odor that others in the salon can detect its presence, it is considered to be odorless. And that's how they can get away with that legally. Those that create a slight odor in the salon are called low odor. So odorless is going to be an odor that is super, super low that, patrons in the salon may not detect it. But low odor is going to be something that is not as bad as the regular stuff. To me, they all smell like crap, and to other students, they all smell pretty bad as well. But I tell my students the smell of money. You also want to make sure that you're aware of the mixing ratio. Generally, odorless products must be used with a dry mix ratio, equal parts liquid and powder in a bead. Going back to our first video. If used too wet, there is a risk of the client developing a skin irritation and sensitivity. The mixing ratio creates a snowy appearing bed on your nail brush. After it is placed on the nail, it will slowly form into a firm, glossy bead that will hold its shape until pressed and smooth with a nail brush. Wipe your nail brush frequently to avoid the product sticking to the hairs. You want to maintain it. You don't want it to glop up, stick, and then create a plasticky mess. It will look really weird when you have that bead, the snowy look, but when you apply it, it will go seamlessly into a glossy feel, which I know a lot of students are mesmerized by. It's like a little bit of cosmetology magic. You do not want to re-wet the brush with monomer liquid. This will change the mixing ratio. It'll add too much liquid in there and it will skew how your nails come off and how they harden. That will lead to product discoloration and surface breakdown, and it can increase the risk of skin irritation and sensitivity. Without re-wetting your brush, use the brush to shape and smooth the surface to perfection. So this is an art. It will take time and practice, and it might be why sometimes using the different types of products might be stressful for some students. Master it with the regular product and then branch off into trying it to see if you like odorless more. Also know that odorless products harden more slowly and they create a tacky layer called the inhibition layer. Once the element has hardened, this layer can be removed with alcohol, acetone, or a manufactured recommended product. It is best to use a plastic-backed cotton pad to avoid skin contact because the plastic acts as a buffer layer and it repels that product away from your skin. Also know that the inhibition layer can be filed away, but you want to avoid skin contact with these freshly filled particles. Here's a little activity the book recommends too. In order to determine whether you have done the best possible job to ensure a smooth, balanced, and symmetrical nail, and that all nails are consistent, try viewing them from the different perspectives: top view, left side and right side views, down the center, from the client's perspective, and the line of light. So from all those different perspectives, you're going to look to see how the nail looks. That just is, again, what I reiterated before. Now we're going to talk about colored polymer powder products. So this is the last section of the book. Know that polymer powder products are now in a wide range of colors. They come in every shade available. So nail artistry is literally only limited by the imagination. Once you know the sanitation and you've mastered the sanitation and the science behind it, how it works, why it works, this is now up to your job to bring in the artistry and match the products to your liking. Some professionals will go beyond the traditional pink and white colors that are used in the French manicure, and they'll combine different ones to customize it for each client. They also will maintain recipe cards. So much like when we're doing hair color and we maintain a recipe card for our formula and how we measure it, some nail artists will actually custom combine the different powders to create a customized color to the client's skin tone or create a different color that will suit the client. And I also think it's really important, even if you are not a hair colorist, check out Coastline Education's class they're having soon on hair color and how to match it to the client's skin tone. The same principles apply to the client's nails. Knowing your client's wardrobe and their skin tone is so important because you're going to give them the best possible service. This should all be part of your thorough consultation. If you could do that right, you can actually create your own custom powdered mixture to create their own custom color for each client. And that will be something that will make your client want to recommend you, and it will be something that will keep the client coming back into you. So know that any kind of customized techniques, clients are willing to pay a few dollars more for a special service. You can even charge accordingly. There are nail artists that charge an arm and a leg, and all they do is nails throughout the day. That is their specialty, and they make bank on that. You can do that too if you know how to master the art and the science and you have some experience. So again, take a look at some of the different colored polymer powder products out there, and don't be afraid to be creative. So I'm just gonna go through now because we're gonna go over some procedures. The one color monomer liquid and polymer powder nail enhancements over nail tips or natural nail. This is going to be your basic procedure to follow. You want to make sure that you're checking your nail primer daily for clarity to ensure it does not become contaminated with nail dust and other floating debris, which can dramatically reduce primer effectiveness. Never use nail primers that are visibly contaminated with floating debris. Also know the next procedure is a 2-color monomer liquid and polymer powder nail enhancements using forms. A service tip that the book recommends is to not touch the primed area of the nail with your application brush until you apply the enhancement product on the area. The enhancement may become discolored where wet nail primer touches a product. Lifting is another possible consequence. Also know that one of the most common mistakes is applying product too thick, especially near the base of the nail plate. Avoiding this will save you time and money that will be lost. Procedure 28.3, our third procedure, is the 1-color monomer liquid and polymer powder maintenance. Do not use a nail clipper to clip away loose nail enhancement products. Nipping may perpetuate the lifting problem and can damage a nail plate. If lifting is excessive, soak off the enhancement and start fresh with the new nail application. The book will also tell you that after you apply the dehydrator and the nail is dry, do not touch the nail plates again with your fingers or allow the client to rest their hands against their face. Touching the prep nail plate or getting makeup or moisturizer on it will actually put oils on, and it can cause the product to lift off. Our sebum too does the same thing. Our fourth procedure is a crack repair for monomer liquid and polymer nail enhancements. Pretty self-explanatory. Monomer liquid and polymer powder. I swear, every time I have to say this, if I had gotten $1, I would have been a millionaire, because it is so redundant in the book. I should literally just abbreviate it to ML and PP, or ML and P for those students that are immature and laugh at that. So removal is very simple. Again, soak in acetone. You also want to know the FYI that if nail plates appear to be thinner after enhancements have been removed, this is because there is more moisture in the natural nail plate, which makes them more flexible. It is not an indication that the nail plates have been weakened by the nail enhancements. So again, when you remove nail enhancements after they've been on for a while, like my grandma was freaking out, like, oh my gosh, I need a nail hardener. My nails are diseased. She thought she had like some kind of bacterial thing. I'm like, Graham, no, it's fine. You've had your nail enhancements on for so long that this is the consequence of finally, letting them be exposed to air. So this excess flexibility will be lost as the natural nails lose moisture over the next 24 hours. The nail plates appear to be thicker and more rigid. So once you remove it, because of the humid environment and the protected environment, it's going to be very moist and pliable. Give it 24 hours for the natural air to get to it, basically oxidize in a way, and that will reharden your nails. So if clients are freaking out, they're blowing up your phone saying, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Should I use nail hardener, this and that? I would tell them, avoid a nail hardener. Wait 24 hours, maybe even 48 hours, and then reevaluate. Ask your clients, if you're communicating through an app or communication of some sort, or even text, say, hey, give your nails time to harden and heal. And that's how you do it. Go over this, go over the vocabulary, go over my videos on this. I know it's a long chapter. It is very monotonous, very redundant. So I hope you guys will all be ready and be wearing your sunscreen, because we are going to be jumping into chapter 29, UV gels, the most popular nail service and the most beneficial nail service that made our industry easier. Have fun and relax.